Doctor. Social Security and Medicare. This was actually number 4 on our list. We have a bunch of cards in the pile that members in the room were very concerned about. The hot topic on the news nowadays. Social Security and Medicare. What measures do you support that will continue the funding of Social Security and Medicare? Additionally, how do you feel about Congressman Paul Ryan's budget that eliminates Medicare and the reserves for Social Security? Doctor, would you start us off, please?
Yes. It's on the brink of insolvency. At current rate, Social Security will run out by 2033. In 2011, Social Security paid out $736 billion to 55 million people. In 2011, 158 million workers paid $564 billion into the Social Security fund. So the solution is raising the cap. Now, what do I mean by that? When you work, you pay 6%, let's say 6%. The employer matches it. That money is capped off at $100,000. So a Derek Jeter, who's making $17, $20 million a year, maybe more, think about it, he pays 6%, and the New York Yankees pay 6% up to $108,000, and that's it. We should raise that limit. That would increase the money coming in. We have to ensure it's not a Ponzi scheme. If you pay in and you start working when you're 18, 19, 20, it's got to be there. We have an obligation, and the Obama medical plan takes away, it cuts Medicare, which is also something that we cannot allow to happen. We must protect Social Security, we must protect Medicare, not only for us in this room, but for your grandchildren and your grandchildren's grandchildren. It's something that we promised them, we take in money for it, and we got to pay our dues. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mrs. Min?
Social Security and Medicare, I think I could probably speak on behalf of all the candidates here tonight, that it's our utmost duty to protect it. Social Security is essentially the savings bank of the American people. They deserve it. It's their money. I respectfully disagree with the doctor. Although we are concerned about Social Security, the funds are not running out tomorrow. In 2033, even if Congress and our government took zero action, that there would still be enough funds in there to pay about 3/4 of the benefits. And I believe that there's no immediate quick solution, but something that we mentioned before when we've been discussing is the importance to create more jobs. The more people who are working, the more people can pay Social Security. I am against the Ryan Republican budget, and I will also do what I can to protect Medicare. I met a woman yesterday at the train station who literally told me that had it not been for Medicare, her family would have had to pay $30,000 for her husband's medical expenses.
Thank you very much. We'll just continue moving down this end of the table. Keep it simple.
Sure, thank you. Well, I'm going to respectfully disagree that there's no urgency to the Social Security problem. The fact that a mere 20 years from now, Social Security checks that seniors are getting will be 1/4 less than what they ought to be is, in my mind, a very, very serious and exigent problem, especially when you consider that until very recently, the Social Security system had 30 or 40 years of solvency left to it, and now it's down to 20. And at the rate that we're going, in a few years, it's going to be down to 10. So it's a collapsing problem, and it needs our immediate attention. Fortunately, there is a very simple solution, and it is listing the exemption on people making over $108,000 or $110,000 a year from contributing their full and fair amount of Social Security taxes. That's really all that we need to do to guarantee another 75 years of solvency for Social Security. In other words, to make sure that my kids, Jonathan who's 14, Gail who's 12, and Laura who's 10, who don't even have any concept of Social Security or retirement, will have Social Security available to them. And that's a very, very simple solution, but we need to act act really, really quickly before the problem gets away from us and then becomes a very difficult problem to solve. In terms of the Ryan budget plan, it really is a prescription for disaster for this country. It would end Medicare and Medicaid as we know it. It would turn Medicaid into a block grant program, which means that people who rely on Medicaid for their health insurance needs would, in a very small amount of time, not have adequate access to health insurance. It would decimate our healthcare system in New York because so many of our hospitals rely on Medicaid. And in terms of Medicare, I really cannot support any legislation that would increase the eligibility age for Medicare. It's hard enough for people who work their whole lives to get access to affordable quality health care, that we need to keep pushing that bar further. How long are people going to work? Till they're 70? Till they're 75? Till they're 80? At some point, we need to take care of our citizens, and we need to do it very, very quickly. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cho.
Social Security, Medicare, they are too big to fail. They serve the 99%. I know right now they have in our mind the banks are too big to fail. JP Morgan Chase is too big to fail. We have to expand the concept. It's Social Security and us that's too big to fail. If the Ryan budget was to pass, if you're looking in the news and you're seeing what people in Greece is going through, that's the austerity measure, and they want to cut them more. You are going to have such social unrest. So to avoid that calamity, if we could see what's ahead of us and what's ahead for our children, then we as citizens, we have to rise up. We have to tell our politicians, send the politicians that's already telling you that we're going to preserve Medicare and Social Security at all costs. Well, Evergreen, where does the money come from? Well, I believe it's a manufactured crisis. There is no Social Security. If Roosevelt can create Social Security out of nothing, how can there be a crisis? All we need to do is have the conviction to fund Social Security. Well, why is there not a progressive taxation? Why is Wall Street getting off so much of their profit? They should be paying into it. We're the people. It's not about Citizens United. It is about the people. These corporations that have offshore havens that are taking the workers out. No, come on, let's tax them too, Let's bring that money, ensure the fully funded Social Security and Medicare, keep the citizens happy and healthy. We're going to go into solar energy, organic food, and we're all going to live long and prosperous.
Thank you very much. Ms. Crowley?
First, I disagree with the Ryan plan, and I think that some of the Republicans in Washington are out of their mind when they talk about privatizing Social Security and risking people's safety net and retirement and in the stock market, which is out of their mind. This is what the Republicans want to do in Washington. We need to make sure we send representatives to protect Social Security. For me, it's going to be a top priority, protect Social Security and Medicare. Why? Not just because it polls well, but because I know from my own life experience how important it is to have Social Security. As I mentioned earlier, my father died when I was young and my mother was a teacher, and it wasn't enough to pay the bills. Thank goodness we had that Social Security. And right now my mother is a senior and she depends on Medicare. And I know how tough it is for many of our seniors who depend on Social Security and Medicare, and how we have to do everything in our power to protect the program. I also want to point out that when President Clinton left office, we had a multi-trillion-dollar surplus. Today we have a multi-trillion-dollar deficit. Our economy fluctuates. We have boom times and we have deficits. And right now we're pulling ourselves out of the worst depression since the Great Depression. And when we start putting more people to work, as we're currently doing, as we added jobs the last quarter, over 100,000 jobs, as we continue to invest and bring our troops back, more people are going to be going to work and paying into Social Security. And then more money will be there for the program to last longer. I don't agree with what some of my opponents have said about raising taxes, raising the Social Security tax on those that make over $100,000. Many of our middle-class families in the communities that are here throughout Queens can't afford that additional cost. And I believe that the percentage put in place is adequate enough, and that we will continue to get more money into the system as our economy continues to improve. Thank you.